Hey, good afternoon. How are you all today? And welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. The cause of yesterday's mass shooting in Kansas City at the Chiefs parade is liberalism. Simple as that. Thug life, little thugs being thugs because they were raised to be thugs not by their fathers, who most of them aren't there, never were. If they knew them in and out of prison, or as somebody just swinging by every now and then to get a little more out of baby mama, and some of her government money. Hey, you think I'm being harsh? I'm going to get a lot harsher than this. You can share this with people if you would like. Let me tell you, I know of what I speak. I grew up in the city. I worked the city as a police officer. I worked as undercover, and I lived in it, and I know this stuff. And it's about time that people woke up and understood that what happened yesterday in Kansas City, just like what happens all across the country, every day. I just saw that there was 4 kids shot in a drive-by outside an Atlanta high school as they were walking out of school, and a car came up, shot into them, shot 4 of them. I will guarantee you that the suspects in these have many things in common. It didn't used to be like this. The cities were a great place to be. Most cities. They were great places to be. I remember Kansas City in the 60s, a little bit in the 50s. I was born in the 50s, so my memories aren't that clear, but I grew up in the city. From the time until we moved to the suburbs when, I was a little bit older. I lived in the city. My family was in the city. We went to entertainment in the city. We knew this. We were city people. And the city was great. And the city was safe. Comparatively safe. You could go places and not worry about it. Kids were turned loose when they got home from school and told to be home by dinner time, and they could do it. We would go when we were 10, 11, 12. After we moved out to the inner suburbs, we could take the bus downtown, spend all day downtown, and take the bus back out to the suburbs. And our parents never worried about it. They gave us bus fare. Their only admonition was, hey, try to find an air-conditioned bus if you can. That's back when air conditioning was just starting to put on buses. Never worried about it. It changed in the 60s. It changed with Lyndon Johnson's Great Society and the welfare programs, and the programs that lowered the standards for whole groups of people, started rewarding aberrant behavior, and started taxing people who made money, who created jobs, who worked jobs, to give to people who didn't have jobs, who didn't create much of anything. And as a result, those people started creating more and more kids and more problems. Simple as that. They rewarded not having a man in the house. And you all know. I don't have to tell you this. I'll tell you something you might not know. Might not. You know that the vast majority of people in prison did not have good fathers, did not have good relationships with fathers, if they knew their fathers at all. Half of them are in prison with their fathers. You know that when a young lady doesn't have a good relationship with a father, the chances for her to be pregnant out of wedlock skyrockets. These are no secrets. I'll tell you something you might not know. And here's something that's going to hurt some people's feelings, and I don't care, because I'm so sick of people refusing to deal with reality and the truth. The truth will set you free, but so many people out there, I hope it's none of you, can't handle the truth. Boy, quoting 2 people, how different can you get than Jesus Christ and Jack Nicholson, right? But both of those are so true. Did you know that girls, actually kids for the most part, it's slightly different between boys and girls, but children who don't have a father have much worse lives. I mean, like I said, the criminal behavior goes up, out of wedlock pregnancies go up, drug use, alcohol abuse, time in prison, time in jail skyrockets when there's no father, and usually the real father in the home. Raised by single mothers, it is a big disparity between those raised by single mothers and those raised with two parents in the home. Did you know that children raised by a single father end up very close to those raised with two parents in the home? Did you know that? That's right. Look it up. Just research it. Don't come on here and say, where do you get that? Research it. You won't believe it if I tell you. You research it. For those who doubt. Most of you here are fine people. I'm sorry. I just had to boot somebody off the other channel, so I'm kind of got that irritation going on here. This was part of the planned destruction of America by destroying the family. Those little thugs that shot up a bunch of people in Kansas City yesterday were just doing what they're supposed to do. See? That's what the Democrat Party has knowingly done. That's been a part of the plan. You all may or may not be aware of what Lyndon Johnson said when he said something that I won't use the word, but he said, if we can get welfare passed, we'll have the N-words voting for us for generations. Because he thought so little of black Americans. As do most liberals. Most liberals are the most racist people there are. Because they don't feel that the minorities are equal to them, to whites. So they have to be helped. They have to be given stuff. They have to be given special considerations. Somebody asked me why I'm not a liberal. I said, I'm not racist. And that's right. I think that everybody should be measured by the same yardstick. And those punks who shot up the crowd yesterday, killed that woman, whether it was more than one punk, whether it was one, word has it that it was just a couple of groups that got into a dispute. The New York Post calls them youngsters, because two of the three apparently who are under arrest, being held now by KCPD, we should be learning a little bit more about it, because they have to charge them within 24 hours of their arrest, or they have to release them. You know, here again, you'll read, I read some news items, and they get it wrong, because half these people don't know what they're talking about. They said, well, under Missouri law, they have to prosecute somebody within 24 hours. No, prosecution, that's when you get later on. They have to charge them within 24 hours. So it's coming up on 24 hours. We're going to find out a little bit more. We probably won't find the youngsters' names. We won't see their pictures, but I bet I could draw. I bet I could. Maybe we'll get an idea on the adult. And I had a couple of people make statements on the Integrative Preparedness channel, saying that they knew, they even gave a name that they said they had read. Somebody was identified as a suspect and something like that. And I asked them for sources, and they gave me a source, and I went and checked it, and it didn't say anything about that. So I know that nobody here I've had to turn off comments on the integrative preparedness. Just too much BS over there, for the most part. I think I left it on the one I put up today about the Kansas City mass shooting, just to see, what people, give people a chance. But I may have to shut it off. This channel's different. Okay, you all are interested in different things. But hopefully we'll get to see who the adult was. But I'll tell you one thing. I will tell you this, that these may be the trigger pullers, but the ones who are at fault are the ones who started these social programs, the welfare programs, who paid women not to have fathers in the family for these children. Every one of these kids was born a perfect child of God. Perfect. They could have been anything. They could have been the next Ben Carson or Donald Trump, or just, fine people. They could have been you, with the proper parenting. But we've allowed this country to reward what's wrong, and we punish what's right. And so we've allowed an entire segment of our country. There are now families going into their 6th generation without anybody in the family having a job. Never had a job, any of them. They live on the government checks. And you know what? They think that's the way it's supposed to be. Have you ever seen any of these videos? I've seen a couple. I don't like to watch them. I think they come on TikTok, and I know a lot of people say, well, you TikTok. Well, you know what? You find out what's going on in the world. The more information sources you avail yourself of. Have you seen those ones with the kids shooting each other, or one girl shot her brother in the head? They're just playing with a gun. You'll see these parties of all these young teenage kids. 20 kids hanging around, smoking weed, guns all over the place, rapping, and no shirts on. I won't say what else I've seen on these things. And talking about my nine, and talking about gangsta and thug life and stuff like that. I saw the one where a girl held a gun up to her brother, I think. I think the kid was 13, 14 years old. Gun went off. You know why it went off? Because she had her finger on the trigger. But they got plenty of guns. Shot him in the head. You know what she did then? She looked at it, shot herself. Like, what? You seen that one? This is the cities. It's not all of the cities. There's people out there that say, I hate the cities. I would never get... Well, they don't know. There's plenty of good things in the cities. This is a segment of society the liberals have consciously, as a result of their policies, confined to this kind of life. And then they'll talk about the drugs that they themselves have assisted in bringing in. And then they'll talk about the guns. Of course, they don't talk about the drugs as much anymore, do they? We're talking about fentanyl a little bit because, it's political. They talk about the guns. We got too much guns. Too many guns. Quentin Lucas said, that's the idiot mayor of Kansas City. Well, this is why people are talking about guns. I'm not going to make this a political issue right now, but yeah, he just did. That's why so many people are talking about guns. Well, I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to stop talking about guns and start talking about fathers. And this isn't just the community that is primarily suffering because of this. This is the wider community that continues not to just allow these lower social expectations for some people, but actually celebrates it. They hold it up. I just thought that I'd come on here and give my 2 cents on this. This is what is destroying our country. It's not that shooter. Not the shooter. It's the organized political movement that created that shooter. And has really created most of the problems in our society. Low expectations. Defund the police. If somebody gets arrested, it's racism. If you don't realize, and I think most of you do, so I'm saying this to somebody that I hope you'll send this to. If you don't realize that the basic cause of the problems in this country are the liberalism that has its seeds in communism, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. This is why we have to work at this. This is why we have to spread this. We have to use these situations as springboards to talk to the people who just refuse to see or have refused to see in the past. These are the things that come our way that allow us the opportunity to talk about these things. They're gonna blame the gun. They're going to blame everybody in the world except for the liberals who created, who planted the seed, who watered the seed, who grew that seed of antisocial hatred until it threatens the entire country. And they're doing this in other areas. I know that. This just happened to be what, they're putting junk in our schools. I'm not even going to get in. I'm going to stay right here with this. Stay right here. Realize that that's what's happened. That kid that if it was just one, if it was 3, I don't care how many it was, if it was 100, never had a chance. Never had a chance. Because of who he was born to, the environment he grew up in. Now, am I excusing the behavior? Don't anybody come on here and say that I'm excusing the behavior. I'm not. What I'm saying. And don't say, well, but some people grew up in that environment and did just fine. Yes, some did, and most don't. Because that environment is almost impossible to escape if you don't have the proper support system in a mother and a father. Some have. I have good friends who grew up in that, and they have turned out to be some of the best people I know. But not everybody has that. Not everybody can do that. So yeah, these youngsters, they call them, or as Joe Pesci would call them, Utes. Yeah, they'll serve their function in our society today. You know what? You know what they were born to be? Inmates. That's right. They were born and raised to be job security for law enforcement, for probation officers, for parole officers, for prison guards, for whatever. And then they'll do some time. Then they'll come back out. Bigger, better, and meaner. You see, because they are what the liberals use to drive their agenda in this country. Okay. I'll leave it at that. you know that this country needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. And what you can do to be a part of it is simply to speak the truth about this kind of stuff. Don't cover it up. Don't cover it up and say, oh, it's whatever. Take it to the root cause. The root cause of this is liberalism, fatherlessness, and a society that excused behavior that shouldn't be excused. Simple as that. You all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.